This episode of Scab Talk is brought to you by Lethal Gaming Gear. And welcome back to Scab Talk, everyone. Today's episode, we'll be discussing the latest Tarkov patch 16.6 that was displayed on their roadmaps, delivered on that promise. That we'll do a bit of a news roundup, talk about Giga's RPG questline adventures. Spoilers, by the way, RPGs in Tarkov. Then we're going to discuss a little bit about Marathon and how it's been received, since it's been about a week and a half since the game went into open alpha or invite alpha. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Arc Raiders, Embark's attempt at another extraction shooter. And lastly, well, maybe we've got time to discuss about my first experience playing Magic the Gathering.
All the good stuff, exciting. Some people have been posting, I've seen about how 2025 is ending up being quite a good year for gaming. There's actually like a lot of stuff around and about, if you're just interested in things. I know there's mixed reception on certain games, but there's lots of stuff. I've seen like loads of people talking about like other random things like this Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and stuff that people seem to be really liking. And then we've got, there's Arc Raiders playtest coming out, obviously Marathon, there's mixed reception, but at least there's things to look at. We've also got Grey Zone cooking up, from some updates recently and things. So it's quite a cool time. There's like more things to do almost than I feel there is possible to do. But let's start with Tarkov Land, patch 16.6, the current iteration of where we're at. And this one has done some interesting stuff. Obviously, the RPG was added as part of this patch, but there's some other things as well that have been added here that are, impactful. First two parts here is the changes. This mostly comes from the roadmap. Optimize the performance in various areas on Lighthouse. Now, I've not played any Lighthouse since getting Lightkeeper. I'm probably never going to play that map ever again, until next wipe, or at least as little as possible. So I actually haven't checked yet. Lighthouse didn't perform that badly for me before. It was the only map, I think I've said this previously, but it was the only map that I had like a significant delta in performance from upgrading my GPU. Because I had 8 gig RAM VRAM before and went to 16, and that really did help a lot with Lighthouse in particular. So maybe that's better from some low-end stuff, but Lighthouse normally works pretty well for me now. The other one is they returned some of the previously deleted location detailing on customs. So when they first released, customs was really bad for this wipe, and they got rid of some of their bits, and they're adding bits back. And customs doesn't run that well for me, I would say.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's very good adding the stuff back. I don't think it is. I can't tell what they've added, and the performance is not as good as it was before once they removed the stuff. So I just am not. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just a bit sad, really. Customs just doesn't run that well. It's not as bad as it was when they first launched it. So
okay, maybe
they've managed to add those things back without change. But I genuinely can't hardly tell what they've done. It looks about not that I was playing much customs before, to be fair. So it's going to be hard for me to tell, but it looked fine, honestly, after they got rid of a few things. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. There was a few quality of life things that have come. Most of these things were from Tarkov.community. So we've talked about some of these things and seen them before. Added the ability to purchase all required items when selecting a crafting recipe in the hideout, which is quite neat. So say you want to go and craft some pile of meds. If you don't have any of the items, you can press buy all the stuff. We were speculating about how that would be done. It's exactly the same as the weapons mod building system. So you press the button, it opens up a new screen. You have 3 lines, 1 for each of the items. You can press buy all, you can refresh it exactly the same way. So it works nicely. I think the only thing that I would like to be added extra there would be some kind of toggle or a feature drop down or something, so that it'll buy extra items so long as you, how do I put this? If the only items you have remaining are find and raid, I would quite like it to ignore that. Probably some people don't care about that, and some people do care about that. But right now, if you do the magazine case, for example, and you say, I want to buy all the things, and you've only got found and raid bolts and found and raid nuts, it will just go, oh, no worries, and just buy... I mean, that's a bad example, actually, but it'll just buy the fuel containers, for example, and then you'll craft, and then you'll use all of your fan and raid stuff, which is kind of annoying. I try, especially at the beginning of this wipe, right? I've ended up with loads of junk boxes. I've got 6, and they're full of random things because you never know when you're going to need various stuff for various quests and random things that BSG throw at you. So, Tarkov is a hoarding simulator, and there's a reason why, because we've been trained like hounds. We're salivating at the sound of Nikita's loot bell. We've been trained to keep as much stuff as possible for either the dailies or for random quests, as we'll see in a minute. Actually, there's some things this is relevant for. But anyway, other than that, it works pretty well. It's better for stuff in the workbench, I think, where there's like lots of items that you might need. So that's quite cool. So if you want to craft some M61, you can just go and buy all the green powder, all the red powder, the helixes, M80. You can just buy it all in one go, which is pretty cool. So that's good. It's a nice thing. Added highlighting of expiring items on the insurance screen. I haven't let anything expire or get near the timer, to be honest. I haven't seen that, but we saw the stuff on Tarkov TV, what that looks like, so that's nice. The automatic failed task restart after a raid. Some people were like, oh no, now this means that every single time I die, I'm going to get the guide going like, re-accept the guide every single time, which does happen, actually, but I don't really care. It's fine. It's really not that big of a deal. So that does happen. I was like joking with Terratex about it because he was like, "Oh, this is going to happen." And I was like, "Yeah, well, we make a change and now we've made a new problem. It's like, oh, that restarts every time. We're like, what if I just don't want it to come up every single time? There's no way to stop that, but it's okay." Transiting, you've got the hold the hotkey for a few seconds. So 1 second thing, you just hold F down and then it goes boop. Then that's it. You get like a 1 second timer and then bam, you're transiting. So it's a lot better now. You can't accidentally do it. It's a lot easier to use that without being a new player. Oh, F, what does this do? Oh crap, now I can't leave out of any other exit.
Did I tell you about the time me and my friend were playing this wipe and he has experienced transit before, and we were actually just going to take the extract past the shoreline, but I guess prior to getting there's a transit zone. And so he just saw the thing pop up, and he was like, "Oh, extract, press F." And I was like, "No, we have to. No, we got to." It's like, "Can we cancel?" It's like, "No, we're locked in." All right, well, I'm going with you.
I found out something interesting the other day about that mechanic, which is that apparently you are locked in, but you can actually transit out of any transit. So you're locked into the transit system, but you could go somewhere else in theory, which is intriguing. So you could go to the transit. You could go to one transit, dump your stuff off, and then like go through the rest of the map and then go to a different transit to leave if you wanted.
That's interesting.
Niche, but interesting.
Yeah.
The way the mechanic works. It locks you out of the regular extracts, but you can use any transit that you like. Kind of cool. Sounds of completed or failed tasks will be dimmed if the player earns an achievement at the same time. Some very bizarre, niche fix. Some new posters for the hideout. I know there's there's a lot of gooning going on. There's proper nice posters for people to put up. Oh, that's all I'll say. You can go and look them up. Actually, I wonder how much they are, because I think I looked right at the beginning, and then I didn't see. I didn't check afterwards how much these things are, because it's annoying now, because they're as part of barter items other. They should really be in their own list, in my opinion, but they're not. So where are these? Okay, so one of them is 350k. That's like the regular one. The killer fangirl one. That is 1.8 mil.
Yeah, that sounds
the
about
past
right.
killer in Tagilla. That's the past killer in Tagilla. So that's a proper one. Where was there was one other one as well. Which one was that one? I don't know what its name is. Anyway, they're kind of rare, so they end up being kind of expensive. But you can put those up if you like. It's up to you. They have added some new crafting recipes for the water collector. So you can use the water collector at the same time as these crafts. So they're not mutually exclusive with the water collector filter. So you can kind of do them as you wish. So you've got your water filter running, and then there's 3 possible crafts. There is bottle of water to bottle of water that takes 16 minutes. So if you have a 1 out of 60 bottle of water, rather than having to use it for crafts or selling it or whatever, you can now refill that bottle of water, which is actually kind of big. I guess it's early game, not going to be useful, because I wonder when this appears. It's a good question. I don't know, because I've got Water Collector 3. Tarkov water. We have a look at bottle of water, because this could. I'm not sure how quickly can you get the water collector. Okay, you can do a water collector 1. So as soon as you get water collector 1 up, you can just refill that water over and over again. And because it's 16 minutes, normally by the time you come out of the raid, it'll be full again. So you can just refill your water again and again and again. There is another one, which is the emergency water ration. So 2 of those. for 1 Grand Juice, and then an auxiliary item of the silicon tube. That's kind of odd, because the EWRs, they're worth, I mean, they're actually only 20-something K on the fleet, but they are worth a Salewa each. And so Grand Juice is now worth 2 times what an EWR is. And Salewas aren't, well, Salewas just, there's so many things that you can do for Salewa. You've got Page, you've got the water rations, which you can find in Raid, you can craft them in the nutrition unit, in the hideout as well. Now you can craft them here. I think EWRs are pretty cheap compared to Salewas. Like Salewas, technically 36K or something is their real value, but they really only go for 25 or something because EWRs are so inexpensive. But it's weird because it values the Grand Juice at like 50, 60K. Because each Grand Juice is now effectively worth 2 Salewas after 24 minutes. Which is intriguing. So Grand Juices are actually worth a lot of money now, as a sort of bizarre side effect.
But I imagine the tax for that's got to be high because they're kind of a cheaper item.
I don't really know. Should we find out? Because now you can just flip stuff. You can just check it out. So let's see, 55,000. Because they did change it quite a lot. Okay, so it's 9,000.
Okay, not too bad.
They did up a lot of the input prices for a lot of these things. And then the final one is Aquapeps plus 5 water bottles. Again, you could do 1 out of 50, out of 60 if you wanted to, and that makes you 5 Aquamaris, which is quite powerful.
I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'm just noticed the water bottle craft, the refill your water bottle. Like, does it have to be 1 out of 60, or can it be like 2 out of?
It could be any.
Okay.
Yeah, it could just be any. Exactly. So that's quite nice. Actually, I guess so where I can't get this in here. There's so many ads on Chrome. I've actually turned off JavaScript, so it won't actually load properly. Let's see, nutrition. So sorry, water collector 1. So water collector 1, you need level 1 security. Okay, so it's very, very basic. Level 1 security requires a construction tape. So you can do level 1 security, and then you get the 4 corrugated hoses, which is probably the biggest problem. 5 screw nuts, 5 bolts, and 3 duct tape. Previously, it didn't do anything, right? Like it gave you hydration regen of +6 or some crap. Like no one cared. It was so irrelevant. Whereas now, once you've got this thing done, you'll actually save a decent amount of money, I think, because rather than having to buy water from therapists for 12K a pop, you have to buy it like constantly when you're in the early wipe. You actually save a lot of money just by recycling these things through the water.
That's
it's
true.
Like giving it a bit more of a use. Which is kind of nice. I find they're all at level 1, I think. Oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Those are nice additions. Then we've got added a new task line for high-level players, which allows to level various skills. Completing the task line will unlock an additional special weekly task.
Oh, did you go over the Aquamari one?
Oh, just very quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. I think the Aquamari one, I think it could be good, I guess. Like if you've got lots of waters lying around, Aquamaris are about 20K. So it's worth doing, I suppose. Aquamaris, I mean, they give you a lot of water for what they are, and a bit of energy too, so they're quite nice for topping up, which is decent. So there's this new high-level task line. I think this is the skier one. So this kind of came at the same time as all the RPG stuff, and so it's all kind of mixed together. But I think it's the skier one. So there's a skier task called Profitable Venture, which has appeared, and you have to hand. And this has made the economy just go really weird. You have to hand in 15 repairs. They don't have to be found in raid. You have to hand in 15 repairs. So that
must be level 61.
Yeah, so you have to be level 61 to get this quest. So anyone who has been doing prestiging and stuff aren't getting this. This is kind of like the extension thing if you want to just keep going and not prestige, I guess. which there's enough people that are in that position. I'm in that position. I am level 62 now, so I actually got this quest straight away. And it is, very, very weird. So the repairs are now very sought after, obviously. There are 2 barters, one at mechanic and one at skier. The mechanic one is iridium MCBs and power filters. Skier is clocks, rollers, and skulls. So those items have just gone through the roof because people want to complete this thing. I think it's gone down a bit. Wooden clocks are now 100K. It's not quite as bad as it was. What's this one? Rollers are now 75k. You need 6 of those. I mean, it's basically an end game, a mega end game money sink. This thing.
Yeah.
And then this last one is their 80k for the skull rings. It's actually not that far off what they usually are. A little bit higher, but not too bad. So that ends up being on you 5 clocks, 500k. Rollers are, what did I say? 80 or something? 6, it's like 920. And then the skulls are about 80. So it's like 1.4 million for each one. You 15. So we're talking 14 mil plus another. So it's like 21 mil, I think, to get them all at the current prices. For example, that's using that first barter. I can't be bothered to see what the other one is. But yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, do you want to say the next bit? Because I think
I'm just confused. Like, what's the appeal here? I get for my rewards, I get 1 stress resistance, 1 perception, attention, aim drill, covert movement.
Yeah,
I don't understand though.
skills in it. Skills.
Okay.
It's skills.
I thought this was going to be like the RPG quest line or something.
No, this is different. This is this patch notes one. This is the high level players quest.
Okay.
And there's more parts.
All right. Safety guarantee.
Look at the next part.
Hand over 15 Zuck body armors and 12 Vulcans and 3 Maskas. I guess they're the killer one. So you have to grind 3 kilo face mask. Of course, does he can have the one that's not the one you need? Is that still a mechanic?
Can you buy the killer face shields off the flea?
I think you can.
Can't remember.
Oh, off the flea, maybe. Let's see if it says on the wiki.
I forget.
I mean, it doesn't say you cannot, or it doesn't say you can on the wiki.
Apparently, there's an achievement for doing all of these.
Okay. I mean, cool. For some people, I guess. I guess if you're a high level achievement hunter.
Yeah. So and that's crazy. They're never too late to learn.
Well, hang on. Let's not forget the rewards. You get +1 light vest skill, +1 heavy vest, +1 weapon maintenance, +1 troubleshooting skill. Okay. And then, as you said, never too late to learn. Hand over 15 HKs. Hand over 4,500 318 mod 0 SOST rounds, and then hand over 8 Taiga survival machetes. Okay. And for your efforts, you get +1 troubleshooting, +1 mag drill, +1 crafting, +1 hideout management. And then the next quest, get a foothold. Oh my god! 30 of like every stem, basically.
They don't have to be found raids, so you can buy them off the flea.
I mean,
it's not like samples, right? But yeah,
30, none of these are found in raid.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 30. 240 stems.
What is the point? And this is like, oh my god! Like, I'm trying. All right, let's just get through this. Profit retention, 30 graphics card, 15 bit points, and you guessed it, 1 skill points to random BS. A life lesson, 8 vodka, 15 moonshine, and 15 whiskey. You just buy them, not found a raid, and a bunch of random skills. +1 intellect, immersion broken. Sorry, I'm drinking. I'm causing brain cell loss. Not lore friendly. Finally, consolation prize. Okay, this is it. This is the consolation prize we get for all of our efforts. Survive and extract the labs 15 times. Okay. Easily knock that out in a month. Eliminate 100 raiders in the lab. And then your rewards, you get like +1 to every single weapon skill. Looks like. And throwables, under barrel, grenade launchers, troubleshooting, weapon maintenance, sniping, assault rifles, DMR skills. I don't see SMGs, submachine guns, unless I'm, missing.
I probably just forgot.
Classic VSG move. Unlocks achievement all on red, and +1 weekly operational tasks with skill reward. Now, what does that mean?
You get 1 extra weekly task.
Okay, but I'm level 61, presumably. Do I really care about? I guess for the next thing they're going to add into the game, that's going to require me to be like level 72, right?
Yeah,
Let's
I guess
see.
is the operational task to do with the achievement? I don't know whether it is. It might be because if it is, then you would get it next wipe as well. But I don't know.
Wait, what is. Wait. Unlocks achievement all on red. All on red. Go in all. Go
That doesn't seem
all
right.
in
Oh
on
wait,
the.
no, it does.
Go all in on the bear squad beyond the cordon and complete skier's uh, profitable venture task line. What is that?
I don't know. You probably have to read the law. It's something to do with Skier arming a bunch of people. Is
But
the
do I have to?
quest
Do
line?
I have to? I mean, do I have to do something in the
No, you don't have to do
game?
anything.
I mean,
No,
like,
no.
what
It's
is
just
this? What is this flavor text?
I think it's because in the original flavor text, it was basically like
Is this
the
like a
guy. There was
gambling high
a bunch of
stakes?
people. There were a bunch of like PMCs who, but they're outside of Tarkov and they want to get in on the action. It says the middle section says there's a squad commander who's been talking to me. He's got his own team. Thing is, the lads were out of the cordon when the war started. So it's a law thing. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah. So
I just
yeah.
just to get out of the way, I just like hate this quest design where it's just like here you go, spend a bunch of money, sit in the menus for 20 minutes. I mean, really, this is more like sit in the menus for like every other raid for 10 minutes. Like it's just like boring as heck. But I guess some people, different strokes for different folks. I don't know.
Exactly. Because most people won't do like most of the sort of well, I guess you could do it if you got high level, if you did prestige. Most people are just going to prestige and not get to level 61. So it's kind of just giving people who just like to grind money and stuff like that, give them something to do. So
Yes,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't care. This is the thing,
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna do it. So people could do it if they want to. It's kind of whatever. Yeah, PvE quest line could be, give some people on PvE something to do if they're not, not gonna wipe or whatever. But yeah, the skill leveling is too low. People in chat saying it should be like +5 or something, or at least, for these things, 5 to 10 levels, like not just one. Like +1 crafting level, like who cares?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just
It's
so it is
just
too small. So yeah.
weird.
Anyway, so next thing before we get onto the sort of RPG bit, there's been a load of AI changes. So bots pull pins and they're animated like pulling pins or grenades. They don't just like old click bang off they go kind of thing, which is cool. Adjusted aiming mechanics of AI PMCs, raiders, and rogues and regular bots to reduce the frequency of headshots in the following situations. This one is actually slightly unsure exactly what this means in terms of who it applies to. But yeah, when firing first shots at long ranges over 100 meters, firing when moving, immediately after leaving sprint, when doing power slides and changing stance, and for regular bots in any condition. So AI is now much less likely to just headshot you, or maybe can't. I don't know. Which I think we've said that should be done for ages, right? Like the AI doesn't need to have fair treatment. They just never headshot you just out of nowhere. Like it's not a fun mechanic for that to happen at 100 meters.
It's a weird
yeah,
thing.
maybe second shot or something, but like the insta kill is just annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying, but at the same time, I've feel like I've come full circle because I think I used to be like a diehard
Oh no.
absolutist about like they just should not. But after hearing people talk and about marathon and like what makes an extraction shooter an extraction shooter, like what's the core tenets, it is kind of interesting how because it's like you have to take the scavs seriously. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because there is that chance that they can just head tap you. And, if you take that away, like, are they still. It's like the blade cuts both ways idea. It's like super annoying, but also makes it. That's like part of the intensity, I guess. But on the flip side, it's still super annoying. So it's like, take that away, it's like, it's not like a whole, it's like an absolute net positive, I guess. It's like you do lose something. Just like, is it worth that loss? But it's I don't know. I don't know about the specifics here. So it's like except for raiders and rogues, or no, it is.
Well, it's weird because it says AI PMCs, raiders, rogues, and regular bots, but then the only thing that's made people confused a little bit is like, does this apply to bosses or boss guards?
I mean, I would assume not.
Well, I would assume not two, but then why would they then specify? They specifically specify in the first one when firing first shots at long ranges, all bots except Zerachi. Now, I would assume that Zerachi was not included with this anyway. So it just seems strange that they, have excluded him in particular when I didn't think he was in scope in the first place. So there's an implication that maybe boss guards or bosses are included in this, but I don't really know.
Yeah,
I don't really know. But yeah, so other than this, like very close ranges, AI accuracy remains the same. When firing at other body parts, AI actually remains the same. So
overall, I think it's
just kind of the headshot thing.
More fair because all we're saying is like the rate at which they're going to headshot you has been reduced in these circumstances, like when firing while moving, immediately after leaving the sprint mode. So like imagine like something power slides a raider or whatever, and like you just get one tapped. Like that's kind of like, oh, my immersion.
There's like no counterplay. I think it's fine. Honestly, I think it's fine.
Yeah. I think it's just tweaking, making it feel more fair and more immersive in a sense.
I think so. They've now added this thing where peaceful bot behavior, if you've got certain tasks where they need to be, they will be there more. Log road,
for
pest control, all of those ones
for PvE.
Yeah. So they'll respond to those now. Well, this is on PvP too. This is like AI scavs will remain in those quest areas if you have a task for those quests. So yeah, that's the usual thing of you have to go to reserve pest control. You have to be shooting like shotguns and stuff to try and bring player scavs and bots in. Like now they will actually like go to those areas, which I remember we talked about this before, and I was like, oh, maybe that's kind of weird. And then like you and chat pointed out, just like, no, it says in the quest they're going to be there. Like, like they should be there. Like you've been told by the trainer they're going to be there, right? So it makes sense. It's fine. There's loads and loads and loads of fixes. We won't go through everything. The first one, fix double damage from bots in certain cases. I haven't seen any. This thing is notoriously difficult to kind of test anyway. I haven't seen anybody being like, no, it hasn't worked. I haven't seen anybody being like, yes, it definitely has. That's probably a good thing. I would lean towards that's good. If they say, oh, we fixed double damage, and then you go into the next raid and you get double damage shot, usually there are a bunch of people being like, no, this just happened to me, here's the clip. I haven't seen any of them, so that bodes well. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure. Other bits and pieces. Let's see, is there anything interesting here? They maybe something to chest. They did fix client freeze after a raid when using MIP streaming in certain cases. I don't know whether MIP streaming is still broken. I don't use it anymore. It was good when it worked, and then it became bad, and then no one used it again because it put the textures down to like Doom 95, quality resolution. It was just really weird. So that just didn't really work. So I don't know whether they've fixed it or not. We need to get Clem on the case. Go and test MIP again. A few other things. Fix the cause of accelerated player footsteps. Did you have that when you were playing at the start of this fight, where you'd like hear around the corner and the scouts would be like, it sounds like they're tiny little people running at like 3 million miles an hour. Like really funny. So they've kind of fixed that. Anything else important? Not really, I don't think. Brightness of certain lights, geometry. Oh, the incorrect weight of the Wartech TV115 plate carrier. The rogue plate carrier. No one ever uses that one, and they changed it from like 2 kilograms to 1 kilogram. It's nice to know that they're focusing on the important things. It's fixed an issue where bots would spin in place while looting, which is good.
Yeah.
So those are the main patch notes. We have the RPG stuff, which got added as well, which is not in the patch notes. They launched a short movie trailer type thing for the RPG being added to the game, which is effectively scavs getting absolutely dunked on by PMCs. It's pretty much the deal. So it's pretty cool. It's called the Art of Explosion, and there's a whole quest line that's been opened up. There's a few pieces to this broad quest. The main one is the Art of Explosion from Prapor. Now, unfortunately, so the Art of Explosion itself, it's eliminate any target using grenades or grenade launchers. Originally, it was kind of busted. You couldn't use certain grenade like under barrel, they weren't working, and like there was a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't working. But BSG fixed it, so now you can use all the under barrels. You can use the actual RPG itself if you find one, because you can find them in marked rooms. You can use grenades and all this kind of stuff. The annoying thing about this is that you couldn't do it. They locked it behind Grenadier in their eternal wisdom. So it comes after Grenadier, and obviously I didn't bother doing Grenadier because Grenadier is really painful. So I was helpfully on 4 out of 8 actually on Grenadier, and it is less players than it used to be. But to help with that a lot, they added impact grenades back to Prapor at level 1. So everyone can
level
go
1.
buy.
Oh my.
Yeah. So level 1 Prapor now has both impact grenades. You can only buy 1 per reset, but you can go and get them again. So factory is now just full of people with impacts completing Grenadier. And then once you've done that, you get the Art of Explosion, which is eliminate any target using grenades or grenade launchers. You need to kill 35 people or 35 entities. You can kill scavs with them. So that's that. And you can either use the GLs or you can use any of them, really. I think I couldn't quite work out. Some people seem to think it was true. I'm not actually 100% sure whether the shotgun round for the grenade launcher counts. I think it does, because that's probably the easiest. But the issue is that you can't buy the grenades from anywhere, really. They're all on the flea. And so, as you might imagine, it's a bit painful. So you can do it with normal grenades, but killing scavs with normal grenades is kind of annoying. Been trying to do the shoot them in the leg and then like roll vogs at them kind of thing. You can impact them. You can only buy 2 per reset. Yeah, you've got the underbarrels, but I haven't done any of the quests. Worst job, best job. I haven't done those ones, which allow you to buy the underbarrel grenade launchers. And then even if you do, I actually have some of them. But even if you do have some of them, then you then have to go and get the grenades from the flea, which are like 60, 70k a pop for the eastern one, and they're like 100k for the western one. The western ones have like huge delays on them as well, so that you can't shoot them nearby. They're also hard to target. I hit a scav right in the foot, and it blew up at his foot, and he didn't die. It's very, very annoying. So, and I've just been like battling with just the game as well. Literally 2 days in a row on stream, I got stuck in geometry. 2 days, which doesn't normally happen, and it was like incredibly frustrating. I got stuck behind a set of like a cabinet. Do you know next to the USEC stash on customs? There's like the USEC room. There's that building. It's got the
yes.
It's got the green screen room up in the one section. If you go into the ground floor, there are some windows facing, I guess, towards like the hill by New Gas Station, on the ground floor. So if you're in that bottom area, there's the 2 sets of stairs, the 2 metal sets of stairs when you're inside. It's behind those sort of Terror Group barricade type things. But there's some windows on the other side, and I jumped up onto one of the. Well, I tried to vault up onto the cabinet, and my body managed to slide between the cabinet and the wall.
Oh no!
And that was it. I was done for, so I couldn't get out, which is really annoying.
Oh, that's.
And then yesterday I was playing Woods, and it's going to be like the best shot ever. I've had like a crazy fight with 2 people, like running round and round and round. I was trying to like nade them, like tossing these nades on the floor, killed both of them, run away to go and heal, and managed to lay myself prone under a root. And that was it again. Couldn't get up. I was like, oh my God. And so it was like the best fight ever. And like Tower was in chat at the time, and he was like, this is like the reason we play Tarkov, it's like the highs are so high and the lows are so very low. But like when you hit the highs, it's so good. And I was like, man, this is the reason why we play this game. It's so great. And then 5 seconds later, I'm launched under a root and can't get up. And everyone was just like, this must have been planned. Like, there's no way. It's literally all of Tarkov encompassed in like 2 minutes.
Nikita's like, he's like sitting at his CEO desk of his servers. He's like, balance in all things.
Exactly. Tarkov giveth, Tarkov taketh. So yeah, I've had an extremely frustrating time with this quest. It's also that classic thing of kill 35 of any entity. So naturally, I'm fine. 95% of the entities I find on the map are players, and 5% of them are scavs. So I spend all my time just like battling my life out against various players of various types. Whilst I'm desperately trying to find scavs. So annoying. There's another quest line. So let me not get ahead of myself. So once you complete that, you unlock the RSHG, Rocket Propelled Grenade Launcher, or is it RGSH? RGSH? No, none of them are working. I don't know what it's called. I thought it was called the RSHG. Oh, it is. It doesn't come up on the flea. It should do. Okay, it's 183k.
You can buy it from the flea?
No, I just wanted to see the price because I don't have it unlocked yet. But you can buy it from Prapor once you've completed Art of Explosion for 183k. It's one shot, and it seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. I've seen a few people using it. I've seen some clips of it,
Yeah,
but
I saw
kind of annihilates people.
I saw Axel on Labs like crouch, leaning, hiding behind like a pillar, and then someone was like went to swipe a card to open a room, and he jumps out, and as they're doing animation, just blows him on He's just like, oh my god. I mean, it's kind of like the GLs, right? I think I think BSG know what they're doing in a sense that they're just like, hey, we understand a couple of months have passed since the wipe. A lot of players are higher level. Here's a thing to have fun. And then once it gets into because you remember when the GL first came out, and that was just like just like everywhere. People were going Labs, especially like naked of GLs, and now it's
There
like
was that one
so
clip
much more controlled.
that comes to mind, which was the landmark clip in
Yeah, I was gonna
Resort.
say I remember there being a landmark clip in Resort, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah, and it was like the front of East Wing,
Uh-huh.
and there was a team, and two guys come around the corner, and he just like boom obliterates them because there's that back wall. There's a wall right next to it, so he hits the corner of the wall. The two guys just get completely destroyed and just fall straight over. And Landmark's just like laughing his head off. Goes round the corner, and the other two of the 4-man are on the other side of the wall, also dead.
Oh my
Like when it came out, it was so broken. It had like no clipping, a huge blast radius. Like everybody died in the area. So like they changed it a lot since then for all of them. But this is a new thing, and it's a one-shot thing, and it's kind of funny. And the BSG no, there's people
No,
just messing around. Right? It's gonna end up. It's really deadly.
It's one and done. You shoot it, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, though, as people saying in chat, it's like amusingly got like 40 ergos. It's actually quite ergonomic. This thing, which is pretty funny. I mean, it's a one-shot rocket launcher. You got to take it as a separate weapon. Like it's whatever. It's funny. I don't mind. It's okay.
Yeah. So
And then
I
they'll put it
saw
behind some stupid thing later, I imagine. So it won't be as easy to
Yeah.
get.
I mean, yeah, the two things I'd be curious if you could loot it in raid. That would be fun.
You can
Like
get it in
imagine.
marked rooms.
Oh my god, March Rooms early wipe, that would be insane. And
Oh yeah,
then
early wipe. That'd be hilarious.
yeah. Yeah, could you imagine oh man, yeah. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of good clips, but I just imagine like some little Timmy of his PPSH going to his pocket watch meanwhile with my rocket launcher. So I saw Airwing do like some rough testing with it, and so I'm a little confused as to like, do we have a lot of details on the mechanics of it? Because it looked like he had like a bunch of people in a line, shot
Yeah.
at them, and like weird stuff happened.
I don't know the full details actually yet, but something to do with the fact that I think it passes through people and can damage and kill them, maybe. But it doesn't go off when it hits them. I think it just kills you,
Mm-hmm.
and then it only goes off when it actually hits something. I mean, if it goes anywhere near you, it's pretty powerful and kills you. Like, yeah, I think if you're 5 meters away, I don't think you'll die, but within that immediate radius, I think it will get you there, as far as I understand. I don't have one, so I've not tested with it yet. I haven't done anything with it myself.
Now I'm wondering, can you hit the BTR with it? I mean, I assume you can.
That was tested. It doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Apparently, it's like an anti-personnel type thing anyway. This
okay.
one. So I mean, maybe they'll add something later.
Yeah.
What does it actually say? Single 72.5 mil rocket-propelled grenade launcher designed to engage enemy personnel in open terrain, field shelters, and various types of structures. So it's not like a AP type RPG anyway. It's not really designed for the BTR, but opens up the possibility.
And does it travel fast too? Like I saw another clip from Airwing where he was like on top of wood sniper rock, and there was someone down by Sawmill, and he shot and he killed like 1 or 2 guys. Like I don't know, it was crazy.
Yeah, and I think that was over like 300 meters or something. I mean, it's fast-ish. I wonder if it says here. It's 144 meters per second. So I mean, it's nowhere near as fast as a bullet, right? But it's I guess 300 meters. It takes 2 seconds to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a it's a long range, slow firing sniper rifle that has a very big boom at the end.
Yeah. No, there's some funny stuff with it. It's about like if you shoot the BTR doesn't even care. It's like it doesn't deal damage to it, so
Oh,
it doesn't
that's so
even like
funny. It doesn't even like
it's not even
aggro.
bothered.
Oh my god, you can
And
do
then there was
so much toxic stuff with that.
because it's actually a weapon as well. You could use it in the hideout, and you would fire it, and what would happen is you'd shoot. There's a clip from Omid actually, which is really funny. It's just like this rocket launcher is finally in the game after so many years. You know, like puts it on, goes into the hideout, and goes, and he's like, "Huh? What's?" Moves away, and the rocket just is like in the air.
Oh, that's so
just like,
funny.
Just like what? It just doesn't go anywhere in the hideout because like the mechanics aren't like implemented. So they've like now stopped you from being able to shoot it in the hideout because the rocket just literally sat there and like did nothing.
I thought you were gonna like he's gonna shoot it and like kill himself or something, and then
Yeah.
like soft locked himself out of the game.
Not quite, but yeah, still entertaining.
It's funny.
So yeah, so that's that. That is that. But there's another set to this as well. So that was Art of the Explosion. There's Skiers Crazy Stuff. And then there's another quest line, which also got added, called Fight Back for Jaeger. And there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to do. Kill 7 scavs on a bunch of different maps. Go and get some document on woods. Then you give therapists some food. You then go and kill scavs around skiers' checkpoints. And then you either team up with Jaeger or with Skier. You either kill Partisan and 10 PMCs, or you eliminate target, which I think is the more interesting one. You eliminate targets with Jaeger's special F1 grenade. So what happens? So there's basically they've added a new type of F1 hand grenade.
Okay.
With a reduced delay. It's Jaeger's speciality model. So this F1 grenade only has a 1.5 second delay on it. So it's even shorter than a VOG 25.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So it's a bit like Jaeger's spicy cooked F1.
Of course, it would be Jaeger that would have it.
Exactly. You can buy those on the flea.
Oh.
So that's kind of how you get the quest done, I think. They cost about 50,000 rubles right now. But 1.5 second delay is no joke.
That's got to be more. That's more expensive than the VOG, or why is it?
I mean the VOGs.
I mean, yeah, I guess it is faster.
VOGs are 25k at the moment, and they've got a 2 second delay.
Yeah,
2 seconds versus 1.5. Some people, I mean, it's also the supply is much more restricted, right? You have to complete that full quest line to unlock the F1, so I can't get them yet.
Yeah,
because I've not finished it. I need to do the scav kills bit, and then I've got to do the scav kills bit at Skier's charity checkpoints, and then eliminate 3 targets with the reduced thing. So I'm quite close to it, and then you can buy the spicy F1 for 11k. Use 3 of them per resale or something. But it's kind of interesting. I mean, honestly, I've just had terrible luck so far. Like I'm just awful with grenade launchers, with grenades, with whatever. And people are like, oh, just shoot the scav in the leg and then roll it at them. Like it took me like 5 VOGs to kill sniper scav up on top of it because they kept bouncing off the wrong bit of the. I nearly killed myself. Like it was so bad. And he was stationary too. Like I can't get it to go where I want. It either like bounces off the thing off in the distance, or and I'm not getting shot by the scav as well. Right? Like it's just painful. I was like, oh, maybe we do it on customs. I was like shooting scavs there. And it's just like they're moving around. Even when they've got their leg shot out, they're like moving away from the grenade, and it takes me like 3 to get them there. And then I end up fighting a PMC, and it's just been really annoying. I've got 11 out of 35. Obviously, I had to go and complete Grenadier first. I did have one really, really funny one on Factory to go and complete Grenadier. And I brought the 2 impacts with me. And I spawned in the one that's like just outside the office, the one on the ground floor. You're like near the new vehicle extracty bit, the outside, like little outside area.
Okay, yeah.
Near the vehicle extract. And so I like run in, I like pain kill myself, which takes a bit of time. And then I run in, vault through the window into the downstairs office area with the safe, pull out my impact grenade. The door opens like straight away, and this PMC runs in with a freaking sword, right? He's like got no gun. So he runs in, he's like trying to hack me, like hack like this. God. Because he's got no gear on otherwise. I've got this like impact grenade out. I'm just like, oh no, like trying to like pull the pin. He's chasing me, right? So we run to the left towards gate 3.
Uh-huh.
I quickly try and open the door, but there's 2 scavs I can see them like there. There's two scavs who like open the doors, we're coming in the like stairwell bit, and I'm just like, oh crap, this is really like this is escalating really quickly. So I just like bounce the impact off the door frame like real quick just to see if I can, because I know it's not going to go off because it's too close. So then you get the, whatever it is, the however many seconds it is for the thing. And I was like, I'm just going to sprint through and see if this guy gets like snagged up or whatever. So it's like, doink this thing like right at my feet, like just run through. And I just like keep going, turn around, like he's not following me. And then this explosion goes off, like I get Grenadier complete and the two scouts,
Oh,
get
that's funny.
not. Maybe they didn't die actually, but yeah, I ended up shooting them with the SR3M. But he got like caught in the doorway and then got like blown up in this impact. I was like, oh my god, it was like so weird, such a weird thing. But yeah, I mean, chat was like, yeah, I thought you were done for because this guy's like on me with the sword, right? And I'm like, I've got like a grenade. I'm like fumbling this grenade in my hands. It's like,
That's
so
so funny.
awkward.
That was smart though. Yeah, because he kind of had you in a sticky situation. It's like, oh, I could throw this, but it's not gonna go off, and like, it's like, how do I do this? What do I do? Hot potato.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, oh man, I don't want it to like blow me up,
right?
So I've got to like do it like point blank to something so it doesn't go off. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. I enjoyed it. It was good. So I've had a couple of like really good fights actually. It's been interesting recently. It's been weird, really weird fights in Tarkov, but like quite good. Not conducive to getting the quest done, but it's been certainly entertaining. Yeah. That's decent. So yeah, so that's basically it. So you can get the spicy F1, and then you can get the RSHG thing, the rocket launch, if you do the main quest. And yes, but some people, the only other thing I'd say about it, some people are using the new F1 to put them on tripwires, because 1.5 seconds is even shorter than the VOG, gives you even less time to respond. So you hear it go off, and then bang, you're got straight away. I'm still unable to get tripwires to really work, but I'm just not very good with putting them in the right place. But yeah, that's the other thing people have been doing. So interesting stuff. Oh, yeah, one final thing. I don't have the ability to buy the grenade launchers, as I said, because I've not done best job, worst job. But as is usually the case with EFT these days, if you have ref, you can buy an M4 with a grenade launcher on it for 74 GP coins. You can buy an AK with the grenade launcher on it for 57 GP coins. So you can use your ref gold at level 3. Yeah, level 3 ref. You can get grenade launchers from him directly if you so wish to do that. I wonder if they've gone down, the ammo. Yeah, so the NATO ones are like 70 to 80k still per grenade, and the Eastern ones are more like, oh, I've done that wrong. The Eastern ones are more like, where are we? Because they're usually more plentiful. They're about 50k now. So yeah, that's the deal. That is the deal.
I was just looking on the Tarkov weapons stuff, because I was like curious as to what they're going to, if you'll be able to shoot the BTR or something, like disable it in the future with like an anti-tank. And so there's the RPG-7, but I don't think that's really anti-armor, anti-tank.
I think it depends what round you use. I think there's different.
There's
different projectiles you can. They were originally going to do that, Nikita said, like in a Tarkov TV ages ago, but they decided against a like reusable launcher. Yeah, at least for the time being.
And then there's that's anti-personnel mine. But okay, so then there's this other section called unconfirmed weapons, which is like speculation, basically. Everything in the unconfirmed is speculation. And there's the AT4 launcher, and this one is an anti-tank, and it's seen by the Black Division operative in the Raid movie. So perhaps,
interesting.
Perhaps, maybe in the future.
Maybe.
Also, there's like a bajillion guns on the wiki for confirmed and speculation. Like, holy.
There's a bajillion everything for this game, isn't there?
Yeah, that's true
So
too.
much stuff that they said they were going to do.
Even
Okay,
loot,
so
too.
other news.
Mm-hmm.
They're adding a new map to Arena. It's called Iceberg. It looks like a hotel lobby kind of thing. It's sort of, I don't know, actually, I'm not really sure. It sort of looks like a hotel. It's like, there's some outside bits. It's got like a sort of foyer bit. It looks quite nice. I don't know. Don't know what the deal with that is. They launched a new community digest as well. So they said they were going to do one per month. It pretty much just tells us all the stuff that we already know about.
Okay.
And what's coming up kind of in the next, well, there was talking about 16.6, what was in there. There's not much in there. It's like a bit of a summary of the stats and a few other things. So now that we've got the roadmap, we kind of need it a bit less.
Pretty.
Did like a summary of Tarkov TV and a few other bits. But yeah, no, this iceberg map looks quite cool, doesn't it?
I like depth of field.
I don't know which game mode it's going to be valid for. The weird thing now is that you can't play all the maps in all the game modes. You can play last year on pretty much everything, I think, but Checkpoint only has 3 maps, which is a bit of a shame. Like you need to balance Checkpoint a bit better. Like free for all, you can play it like wherever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just put a bunch of spawn points down and that's that. But for Checkpoint, for like a domination game mode, you need to sort of think a bit about where the points are going to be, and spawns, like because you're always spawning on the same side. It's not dynamic spawning and that stuff like that. So I mean. As I said before, like Fort, for example, is already awful on Checkpoint. It's like terrible. There's only 3 maps for it. One of them is like completely one-sided and like really horrible. So I don't know. BSG slash Nikita, you posted another like random video too. I didn't even watch this one yet. It's just like a bunch of the usual footage. Them doing motion capture and various things. So it's like M4 motion. I don't like motion capturing like stuff from Scrubs for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess it shows how they can like model.
That's interesting.
From video, which is kind of cool.
I wonder if there's AI implementation there.
Maybe. Must be, I guess. Must be. People doing stuff.
Looks like maybe more of the iceberg map, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know if there's anything really interesting in this one, to be honest.
Yeah.
The top comment on this video is, we don't want or need effing dance emotes. And Nikita's just wrote, relax.
Yeah.
He kind of has 1 clapback per dev reel.
Cloth physics? Also, so there's a rig for those familiar with animation of looks like a doctor's coat, and I think I see booba. So this may be therapist, or that's some really thick body armor.
Yes. A blue head doctor, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah,
scenes, maybe.
True.
Something like that. I don't know. So yes, I think that's everything Tarkov BSG related. All of that. Yeah, all of that. I think that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Was there anything else? Have I missed anything? Anything else to
I don't think so.
to chat about for Tarkov? I think the only other thing is like people in chat have been joking about how Nikita's slowly just gonna like bait me into getting Kappa. Because, for example, I would never have done Grenadier.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, to get the explosion crest, like now I have to do Grenadier, So people are like, well, now you've done Grenadier, you may as well just do Kappa now at this point. I'm just like, no, this is not how this works. Like, there's no chance. But it got me kind of looking, I was like, I wonder how far actually am I? How I actually need to do this? Like dangerous thoughts, They're dangerous thoughts. But there's just so much. I think you'd need, I was looking through, it's like you'd need a full rework of Test Drive, I think, to want to actually do that. Like 20 kills on Lighthouse with horrible guns, 20 kills on Streets with horrible guns. Still got to do Goons, still got to do Tarkov Shooter, all the way up to Part 8, got to do Shooter Born in Heaven. I'd have to do Psycho Sniper. It's like, there's 5 quests basically that would be awful. It's like, yeah, Tarkov Shooter, Shooter Born in Heaven, Psycho Sniper, the Goons, and the weapon testing one I just said, and I'm mind blanking on. We have to use all the different guns on all the different maps. That's like those are the ones that are really painful. I think if I was even going to think about it, then I'd have to
You're
get some of
already
the stuff
talking
like
yourself in.
well, it would have to happen. It would have to kind of happen naturally. Like I'd have to
Mhm.
kill the goons or something first. Like the goons would have to die. Like all the random RNG stuff would already have to
Yeah.
be like kind of completed. It's really annoying actually. I hadn't killed enough lighthouse rogues to have the quest. So despite the fact that I have
Yeah.
actually killed the goons this wipe, I didn't get credited for the quest for it because I didn't have the quest.
Right.
Because I had all the other ones open for bosses, but forgot that you need to complete the like kill 10 rogues or whatever. So
Mhm.
you have to do outcast, I think, before you get the goons one, which is really painful. So I killed all 3 in one raid, and then it obviously didn't get credited, which is pain. But I've killed Killer. So Killer I've already done him. He was one of the very first ones when I went on my M61 rampage. Someone was asking in chat, so I've brought that up. Like when I went on my M61 rampage, he was the first one. I wandered into the mall, and he was there, and he turned around, and I just went, just laser beamed him with M61, and he just fell over and exploded. It was pretty good. The brothers have had a bad time. I haven't really seen many of the other bosses actually. I killed Rashala by accident on Dorm's Hill yesterday outside because someone had like aggroed him out into the middle of the open somehow. So I killed him yesterday. I killed Killer by accident with this M61. I killed Tagilla because I was memeing around with Magnum Buckshot and shot him in the legs and took all of his stuff because I had no damage on him, which was cool. Because I've been doing Magnum Buck in Arena a lot, which is hilarious, by the way. And pretty funny. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's mainly the goons and then just all the grindies, bolty quest stuff, really. So I'm probably not going to. But so one step further along with Grenadier being done, one step further. All right, so what else is going on? Everyone and their dog is making an extraction shooter game. There's millions of them. We've just got through Marathon, the first sort of wave of hype. Some people think it's good. Some people think it's bad. Some people think it's good, but it has some critical problems. I think people overall have been like relatively fair about it. I watched quite a few videos actually from various people, from Jesse, from Hidden Xperia, from Pesley, like lots of people's opinions on the Marathon experience so far. So tell us, let's go.
Yeah, so I watched a video from Skill Up, which I don't know, it's like a gaming news or I don't know, not really new to me, but they had a kind of like a roundup, a news roundup for this week in gaming or something, and they talked about Marathon Close Alpha Test, and I got it pulled up here on the Steam charts. I don't know if this one's more or less accurate than Steam database. I think they use the other one, but I mean, it peaks at 6,700 players, which is not a lot, but it is a invite alpha, and that obviously doesn't include
annoying to get into, right?
Yeah, difficult to get into, and that doesn't include console players and whatnot. So I would speculate this was probably like a 10K test, maybe more, maybe less, who knows? But the overall general reception has not been that great. I mean, I think you have a lot of people taking being like, this is an L because art style, and like if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I mean, that's kind of just like is what it is. But it just seems like the interest from both the streamers, because it feels like there's a disproportionate amount of content, or I don't know. I'll just say this: it seems like the player interest based off the charts has kind of like been dwindling after like day 2, day 3. I mean, it's already down in like the 2,000, 1,000. And then I mean, it's kind of concurrent at like 1,000, and like the closes in like a couple of days. I think it's like Wednesday actually, or is it Tuesday?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't remember, but and the Twitch metrics are kind of following a very similar trend, more egregiously, much more of a drop off. And of course, it's alpha. It's still early to tell, but it seems that the general sentiment from creators and then like largely just like gamers, like they're not very interested in it. And there is like a lot of negativity around that. And then when I watch
Hmm.
more critical, you know, critiques of it, it's just like, yeah, it's just kind of like missing. Like it's a fine game, but like it's just like okay right now. It feels like it's got a lot more to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just like it's kind of it's whatever. I mean, it I don't know. I like the art style. Like it's grown on me, and I just don't know about the whole like forcing three people. Like it just feels like the game is trying to be like an Apex Legends type of experience, and it feels like that's intentional in the game design because you got like shield health and like you get a shield packs, HP. I mean, these are like very familiar systems and like abilities of your primary ability and then like your old your good ability. I mean, these are like very familiar systems, which I think is great for like onboarding players into the genre, you know. But I just think there is something interesting that, in particular, or I guess, yeah, Jesse and Veritas talked about in their last cast, which was, Jesse brought up the question, like, what is like the core tenets? Like, what is like defined in an extraction shooter? Is it like looting? Is it like safe pockets? Like, what is that? And like, I guess that's like the physical stuff. And then that kind of like made me think it's like, well, what's like what's like the metaphysical stuff, What's like, because then it feels interesting to me to think it's like, if you do, if you make the game so remove all the tension, let's say, then it doesn't have that
Yeah.
same grip like something like Tarkov does, But at the same time, you alienate players. So I don't know. I'm just like very curious because I know you said gaming. There's like a lot of games to look forward to. But I watched another video by Alana Pierce, who works at Sony currently, and she's kind of like a game. I think she like used to be more of a games journalist, but she talked about how like gaming is just not in a great spot industry wise, and there's like reasons for that. And she goes over like this article. You can check it out. Do recommend it. It's a good video. And basically like the bubbles. It's like largely because COVID and like companies, it's like losing 3% yearly is just like really bad, and like you can't keep the. And the other issue too is like when you talk about spending your time, it's just so easy to like spend your time on, like social media apps on your
Mm.
phone, whereas like gaming, it's like even like the other day, I was like I wanted to play something, but like I didn't know what to play. You know what I mean? It's like it's like what did I want to put effort into like playing? It's kind of
Yeah.
whereas something like social media algorithm is just like so much easier to consume and use. So, anyways, and then with all that, apparently EA was working on their own extraction game, which was supposed to be a Titanfall 3 set in the Titanfall universe. I mean, I think it was like rumored it was Titanfall 3, but I think it eventually came out. It was going to be an extraction shooter, but it got canned and people got laid off, sadly. So, and part of that, there's some speculation that because of the lukewarm reception to Marathon, that was part of their decision. I mean, they released a very
Mm.
like corporate like statement about about it. We're focusing our efforts on continuing blah 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 and whatever.
I read it and I was like, what are they trying to say?
Yeah, exactly.
It was really weird. I genuinely grokked it because I was like, what does this mean? Like, maybe surely I'm missing some context here or something. It was just like 2 paragraphs saying like basically nothing. It was like
Yeah.
amazing. Actually, it was one of the most impressive examples of buzzword bingo.
Yep. So, anyways, I don't know. I just think it's fascinating to me. It's like, why does Tarkov have such a grip And I mean, because we don't really have data around Tarkov outside of like Twitch metrics, but that's more just like player interests, like you at best you could say. But it does seem to me that like I just ponder, can like is a more mass appeal extraction shooter, is that concept conceptually like at odds with the actual idea of an extraction shooter? You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like I just
yeah.
wonder because the experience of it is so like, I mean, it's like you get to play a survival game without actually having to sit there and play a survival game, you know?
I think part of the issue, though, it's not necessarily just about like the extraction shooter thing. It's almost as much about the fact that Tarkov's now in a state where it's done it so well that you can release a game like Marathon, which is an extraction shooter, that's fine, but it's just average. And this is kind of the point that
Yeah.
I've made the whole time through, which is that you can make an average extraction shooter and people won't be interested because the shooter interest requires more stuff. You know, you can we're not necessarily debating about like whether the game is or isn't or what makes it that. It's what makes it a good one, right? It's like you can release an FPS. It's sure it's an FPS, but it's not going to be the next groundbreaking FPS. Same thing with extraction shooters. You can make one with all the bits that technically it needs, but secure container, not secure container. I mean, these things it doesn't. Who really cares? At the end of the day, your mixture of stuff is going to be what
Mm-hmm.
makes it interesting or not. And that's the reason why I'm still. And I was talking to chat about this the other day. It's like the only one I'm really properly interested in still is probably Grey Zone Warfare. Still, because they're the only people that so far seemingly have actually got a structure that is different, allows them to do different things.
Yeah.
It's a big game like DayZ, fully open world, and Rust as well, right? They do very different things, but they're persistent, server based. You play it's kind of seasons in those games, and you
Mm-hmm.
build
Mm-hmm.
up stories and whatever over a long period of time. Tarkov is complete opposite. It's instant space. You never meet the same people again. I mean, sometimes you do, but it's like
Right.
it's not the intention, right? It's like
Exactly.
that's the exception rather than the rule. And Grey Zone Warfare sits somewhere in the middle of this, where you're
I
gonna
see.
you have this extended period of time on your play session, but every time you rejoin, the game state can be different. And so with this kind of capture mechanic that they've got going on, no one else can really do that, right? Like I guess you could sort of do that in a DayZ environment, but it's kind of too big. It doesn't really make sense. Like they've got that middle scale where you can get
Mm-hmm.
to everyone on the map within a reasonable, within 10 minutes or something, and have impact. And then it doesn't have to like persist forever. It's like, each game is kind of different within your play session, but it's not bitty like it is in Tarkov. Like each raid is its own separate story. So they've got a different structure to everybody else that allows them to do something new. And that's why I'm still kind of intrigued about it. But it's still got all of the formulations that we know work. We talked last time about how hard it is to get a sci-fi universe. Or the buy-in for a sci-fi universe is difficult because it's just not intuitive by definition.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they've still got the gritty, realistic environment. Yes, it's jungle based, but it's regular guns that we all know, and the time to kill is also based on realism, and they've got a different armor hitbox system that fixes some of Tarkov's problems. There's no player market, so you don't have any flea issues in Grey Zone. Like they've structurally got room to maneuver and like try out new stuff. Whereas that was immediately the things that concerned me about Marathon was that the system is already set. It's like instance based. You already run into those spawn issues immediately. Like the game loop is almost exactly the same as EFT. It's like how much can you? I know it looks very different, but how much can you deviate from the pre-existing game mode? Right? It's hard to do something very similar to Tarkov and differentiate yourself. It's just tricky. It's hard to get that kind of je ne sais quoi they say. The thing I did. That's
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what you mean.
the unknown, the unknown magic factor, the X factor
Yeah, and
in a
I
game
just wonder if
like that.
maybe Bungie's philosophy is like, if like Tarkov people like it, great. If not, we don't care. We just want to make a more broad appealing game for the console market because you just can't play on PC or consoles on Tarkov, and I don't know of any other outside of like Hunt. But
Mm.
Hunt's it's different. It's like, yeah, it is an extraction shooter, but it's not as close to as Tarkov, I guess. Is like
Yeah,
everyone's trying
it's
to.
not a it's not a looter shooter. specifically.
Yeah, it's
It
more
is an
like
extraction shooter. 'Cause
right.
I had a semantic conversation with someone in the comments on
Of
YouTube the
course.
other day where they were like, "I always hate it when people talk about Helldivers as an extraction shooter because
Yeah.
it's this, that, and the other." And I'm just like, yeah, it doesn't have loot in it. It says nothing about loot in the game. Like Tarkov is a looter shooter. Helldivers is not a looter shooter. Neither is Hunt Showdown. They're all technically extraction shooters. I know they're very different in style, but then Marathon is a looter shooter. Grey Zone Warfare is technically a looter shooter. Although there's no loot in the game yet, but it's like technically a looter shooter. So, and that's sort of what part of the thing. It's like, are you doing the loot economy thing, or are you not doing the loot economy thing? It's like that's kind of yeah, you can get items in Hunt and whatnot, but it's more about like Hunt's more akin to a BR in some ways. Like you've got progression per character, but when the character dies, all the progression on that character's gone. So you're kind of always sort of starting from zero, kind of, and like you're the one learning stuff, right? Like a BR is interesting because the world is interesting and you're learning how to play the game better, right? It's like you don't really get any permanent progression, but so it's interesting. It just depends on where you want to cut it and like how you want the game to play through. But yeah, I think the thing about Marathon, like my bugbear about it, obviously has been the solo thing. I made the video about the solo thing.
Yeah.
Lots of people have been talking about the solo thing. They probably would have been talking about it anyway. But I think having a video about it, because I think I was talking to you last time. Like I wasn't sure exactly how I was gonna, because I didn't want to just do like Marathon review. This is kind of a YouTube strategy thought, right? It was like if I just go Marathon review, GigaBeef thoughts, everyone's just gonna be like, who are you? You didn't play the playtest. You've played for 4 hours and now you're just hating on the game or whatever it might be, right? And it's just there's just less value there. So that's why I was like, well, I'll pick my particular lane and we'll talk about this specific thing about the solo thing. And that's definitely got some traction, got some people talking, which has been good. And there's actually been quite a few interesting ideas that out of chats, out of the community, on YouTube specifically in the comments and whatever, which are actually pretty cool. And there's a few that I've seen. One being, could they lean more into the Hunt style? So in Hunt, your character levels up in Hunt as you complete missions or whatever until you die, and then you have to get a new one. And as you level up, you get these points. The max level is 50, but you get like if you extract with the boss bounty thing, you get like 10 levels or something, 12, 15 levels. So you can get to a max level character in Hunt within probably like 3 or 4 runs. But it's because when you die, you have to choose a new character, start again from naught, right? And you get to pick out of a huge grid of perks what to add to your character. So your character gets stronger, and then the moment that you die, you have to start again, right? That's why Hunt's like kind of interesting. But of those perks, they're different if you're on your own. So solo players have different. It's usually the same kind of perk, but they're like extra stuff. So it's like, if you're solo, this thing is doubled, or you get this extra piece activated if you're on your own. There's like there's the kind of the wall hacks thing in Hunt, which is that once you've got the bounty, everyone can see you, but as the bounty holder, you can like do this like fuzzy wall hacks. You can kind of see the people chasing you. It's like the hunter versus prey, the predator versus prey kind of mechanic. It's like it's fun. It's quite cool because it's a limited resource as well. So like solos, if you pick that particular perk, like solos get double the amount of time to see people through walls, kind of thing, and stuff like that. And so that's very, very helpful. So some people are like, well, maybe they could do that, or maybe they could like add a solo styled runner, right? Because you could do the first idea easily with the cores, where you could give a solos like a core to begin with, or some of the cores would have different effects depending on if you're solo or not. Then the people were talking about having a solo runner, so it's like specifically designed for solo play. Like it'd be stronger maybe, or more powerful, have some different abilities that lean into being alone. But you can only play that runner if you're not queued with anyone, for example, which is like another way of dealing with it. I don't think that's quite as nuanced. It's not quite as nice as doing it with the cores, because otherwise with the cores you can still pick which character you want to do. Another interesting idea that I heard that I was like, actually, that might actually be kind of cool, is if you were solo, and I guess this might just be like a perk of a core if you're playing solo or something. It doesn't really matter how it's implemented. But if you're solo and you shoot a player, they are just like permanently dead. And I thought, well, maybe at least until you're dead, right? Like maybe your character could have, because that maybe is a bit sucky, especially if you get killed, you kill one of them and then they kill one of you, and then you're just on your own. And then they're like then they're down one man, which is like kind of annoying. But I imagine this sort of system to nuance that, where it's like, as a solo player, you've got this kind of like, I don't know, static field extra like ability or whatever, and it's a passive, and it's like if you down any player, they cannot be rezzed until you're dead, for example. So they would have to kill the solo player in order to get to get their guy up, kind of thing. And that would make the fights feel more. I'm sure there's problems with that as well. Like you could kill one person and then just run away to grief them or whatever. But like, it would be more fair in general, because then it would allow you to kill one of the team and then actually have a fair fight against the other two without worrying about resurrect. Because like if they kill you, that's the end of it. That's the end of the story, right? You're done for. Yeah. So it does make it you're fighting like 3 people on your own. So not allowing them to res would at least sway it a bit, right? Like the infinite res thing is like really part of the problem, because you can be pushed down by one player while the other player's like getting the third player back up. It's like makes it really, really tough. It doesn't allow you to flank for any more than 30 seconds. Like you're really limited on what you can do as solo. So I don't know. There's lots of things that they could potentially do. That's not just like, oh, we're going to put a solo queue in, because obviously that's what a lot of people are calling for, having a solo queue. But that splits the player base, and they have to rebalance it for solos, which is kind of the issues that they said they had. So these are other ways that the solos can still play with everybody else, like it is in EFT, right? It's like we don't need a solo queue in EFT because the game mechanics work well. You don't need one in Hunt, although I think people have called for it. But you're stronger in Hunt when you're solo if you pick the right perks and things. There are ways to make it work, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in this game, it's just like not possible. So I just thought some of those ideas were interesting. Like there's ways to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, depends on what they want to do, really.
If they want, if they want to make an effort, then it's on them. But I don't know. I think this whole idea of like we're making this game for squads, it's like whatever. It's just like I don't really enjoy that, especially in the extraction shooter. Like playing with randoms is difficult because you have to like, people have different tasks, people have different things they want to do, and it's not like queuing up for Counter-Strike match or whatever,
or even Apex.
Yeah,
you got the same goal, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's just like that part makes it kind of challenging, and like maybe that's fine. It's like, oh, you gotta like work on your social skills and diplomacy, I guess, but like it's gonna lead to a crappy experience. Like if you're queuing up as a duo and then you get the solo, well, it's democratically it's 2 against 1. You know what I mean? And then if you have like friendly fire, if you have friendly fire on, always gets confused. Friendly fire on means you can kill your teammates, right?
Yeah.
Then it becomes even more problematic because it's like, oh well, you looted my loot, screw you, I'm gonna kill you. So it's I don't know. It's just like and then you miss out on all the fun opportunities of like teaming up with, because it is instance based. You can have those survival experiences that you have in like DayZ, where like you and a stranger go on this epic long quest for like 3 hours and then he dies and you mourn his death or whatever. You could have that in like a 20-minute experience in and out. Yeah. And it's like, that guy was nice. We were friendly. We extracted, together. It's like, but when it becomes so like systematic, then it's just like, oh, boom, I'm just going to kill this guy. Boom, get his loot. You know what I mean? It's just, you take away too much, I think. So I hope they seriously consider something, because, yeah, I played, so yeah, talking to the next subject here, Arc Raiders playtest started the 30th, I think, something. And I watched a few people play it, and I was like, this looks kind of interesting. So this is from Embark Studios, which my understanding is like the original DICE team that made some of the Battlefield games back in the days or so. I think like Bad Company, or maybe I'm misquoting that, but same people behind like the Finals, right?
Which you loved, right?
I did like the Finals. Yeah, I mean, it was a fine game. I haven't played it in some time, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
But yeah,
it was cool. The destructibility is really cool. And yeah, so I heard about this game and I wasn't really too keen on it at the time, because from what I was hearing, it was like third person. So I was already kind of like, I don't love third person. And then they changed it. They were like, all right, we're going to actually change this to like a premium title to fit better in line with what we're trying to achieve. And I was like, okay, still a little uncertain about that. And I think at one point it may have been like PvE focused or something. I don't know. But regardless, this is your classic PvE, PvP extraction shooter. And I actually got in. Shout out to my friend who sent me an invite code last night. And I got in this morning. I played an hour. I played 2 matches. 2 of them were with squads. fell on, and then one of them was solo, and survived 2 out of 3. And I gotta say, I like everything I'm seeing so far. I think the art style is a lot more realistic, but also like post-apocalyptic, modern, and then it has this kind of like very Mad Max scrap, like it's sci-fi, but it's like grounded and scavenging, I guess. There's like uh decrepit roads of like vehicles, cars that you can like loot, like stick your crowbar in and pry them open or whatever. But I quite like the blend of like sci-fi with like this whole like scavenger-esque, like the weapons too are just like really cool. I think I was watching Berkey, and she was using like, sorry, Berkey, she was using like, well, it looked like a compression air compressor for like a magazine to like fire
Right.
whatever. And it's just like, I really like the weapons because they're like, it feels very like scavvy, like scav guns, like you're fighting, like they're not super ideal, I guess. And I really like that sort of feeling. It's like very this fights feel scrappy. And I don't know, I'm like, the one thing I really dig about this is the AI is like drones and like bots, like actual like robots, I guess. And
Yeah.
it's just very cool mechanics because they like fly at you and you gotta like shoot their weak spots, which is like their propellers and such. And I don't know, it's just something about the experience in the world. Like it's I can see myself playing this with like a couple of friends, or even just in general, and having a good time because it feels very immersive. Like it's given me that sort of like Tarkov vibes. Like when I played solo, I was like really, being cautious and checking my corners. Listen, the sound design is also like phenomenal. Like as far as like the quality it sounds in your ear, like the post processing is really good. Shots sound really good from far away. Like there's like echoing and occlusion. Like it sounds really good. So I'm very intrigued about this one. It's funny because, prior to like really seeing any gameplay footage of this or Marathon, my initial excitement was definitely geared towards Marathon. And Arc Raiders, I was like, this is like gonna be whatever, but now it's like completely flipped. So as like a more casual extraction shooter experience, I'm kinda digging it thus far.
Yeah. So I haven't played yet.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get into the test for ages until this morning because I just like again I missed the boat on it. Right, it's like kind of what you were saying. I was more excited about Marathon. I've been like doing more research about Marathon, and then when it came out, I was just like, oh man, like this is really not for me, this game. And I just like not really looked at this one. I'd seen it, I think maybe on the original
Mm-hmm.
test. I remembered the name, and people were like, oh, there's this test for another extraction shooter, Sandy sort of military thing. I was just like, okay, whatever. And then as people started playing it, I was just like, oh, maybe this is interesting actually, because they also third person. I was just like, ugh, man, like
Yeah.
I just don't really care for third person particularly.
Yeah.
So it's just like whatever. I'll focus more on Marathon. And then as people were talking about it and playing it and going like, man, this game's actually quite cool. I was like, oh, let's try and get into the test then. So I clicked the button, but like I just didn't get in. So I then had to, I haven't played yet, but I had to pull my creator privileges in order to be like, please, sir, can I have a code?
Yes. Yeah.
And so now as of this morning, I do have one, but I
Very
haven't
cool.
been able to play yet. I haven't been able to play a game yet because I've been busy doing other stuff. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm intrigued. There's a couple of things so I watched some videos
Mm-hmm.
of it. I didn't really want to watch people just running around as a three playing the game. I
Yeah.
was not really that interested. But from some of the just background footage that I saw, the sound design to me sounded absolutely insane. It was just like really, really cool, like really realistic, on par with Tarkov level of like sounds and stuff. Just from a sound creation perspective, don't go on about audio in EFT, but the actual audio that you get in Tarkov is still really immersive and still very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it reminds me of that. It's like very, very good. And graphically it's interesting too. I think things that I couldn't really get a feeling of without having played it yet, which I'm interested to hear what you've said about it. So third person is a bit weird. The TTK looked quite long. I don't know whether it's because people were playing with like basic guns and stuff, or just didn't really know how to play yet because it's like really early in the test or whatever. But like that's sort of something that makes me worry about the solo stuff, like how big the maps actually are, and then like, do you think the solo is actually like, could you solo in this game like without a team? Like, what do you think after playing a couple of games, like all of those things? So yeah, map size, solo viability, TTK. Yeah, those are the main questions.
I mean, from my very limited experience of 3 matches, one of them being
Yeah.
solo. I mean, probably. I don't know. I think because I don't know all the details, but it feels like this. Like I said, the fights have been very scrappy. Like, in other words, like I watched Jesse play with like Bearkey and someone else, and yeah, I mean it feels like the fights are more drawn out, which I think can like go well for a solo player. Because yeah, I mean if you don't have a time to react as a solo, that's also like a challenge, I guess. I don't know, it's weird because you want like I feel like you want a happy middle ground where like the TTK isn't ridiculously high and it's also not ridiculously low, because if it's ridiculously high, then the math is like it's really hard to take them out. But if it's super low, it's like yay, everyone's a glass cannon, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it can be challenging either way.
This is kind of why it's kind of why I've sort of bundled these questions up together, because I almost feel like it's more, because imagine this thing, because certain maps are harder for solos than others, right? It's like why I think solo players probably better off on an outdoor areas than you are in interchange, for example. Like it's easier to fight a trio outside on shoreline than
Yeah,
it is in the mall, for example. And it's
yeah,
like, and this is where it's like all comes down to the map design, because I feel like for soloing, marathon is the maps are, and the map just geometry, just the way that the maps are designed, they're kind of like too small in some ways. You're never going to be in a situation where if you're moving carefully in marathon, it does happen, but like it's less likely that you're going to see them and they're not going to see you, and then you can kind of plan your route, plan your attack. Most of the time, if you see them, they're going to see you because you're quite close, and then you're already in fighting range. Whereas Tarkov isn't really like that, right? So even though Tarkov's got low time to kill, a 3-man moves around more and is paying less attention, so you can spot them as a solo, and then you get like the jump on them, so you have the solo advantage of, you know, being able to shoot whoever with no comms. Plus, you've then got the ambush advantage, which is why I think like when I was looking at this game, I was like, well, your character and the size of the world is a lot bigger than your character it is in marathon, for example. Like marathon, it's easy to get on top of like third story buildings, jump down. There's very little fall damage. You have like your jumps you very high. Like the size. It's interesting because the size of the map graphically is only part of the question, right? Like it all also depends on how fast your characters move. Like the map is relatively smaller or larger depending on how quickly your characters move.
right.
And in like this game is a lot less mobile than something like Marathon, right? And the maps themselves seem slightly bigger, so there's more scope to either avoid people, which makes it more viable for solos, or to the complicated map geometry. But it's like bigger in general. It's like the Tarkov maps are big, right? They are really quite large and filled with detail. There's undulating terrain and bushes and trees, and you can loot. You can take a pot shot off and then disappear as a solo player. So like, and I kind of got that vibe here. So even though the TTK is quite high, it's like, oh, you could maybe kill somebody and then like run off and like get a different angle or whatever.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're very kind of stuck. That's just the way that the geometry works on the map. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel very big. I think the other interesting part with the design of the map thus far, at least the one that I think there might be multiple maps, but there's a lot of verticality usage here. So you have like a lot of buildings and there's a lot of like open terrain and sand. It's like a desert essentially. But I think the verticality part is very interesting because you can use height to your advantage, and then the actual navigating the building, and then there's like zip lines you can loot or like maybe buy even to like deploy, which is also just like very, yeah. I really like I think the verticality is pretty key here because that feels like you can get into some advantageous positions, but it'll be interesting to see because again, it's maybe the meta strat will be you spawn and you go and camp your first building for the first 5 minutes. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I like what I see so far. You can also shoulder swap, which I was pleased to see. So you like
Oh.
your camera. Yeah, that was like one of my big gripes of like third person games. Like sometimes the camera, it's like it is more, user friendly, I guess. You get to like see more and see what your character's doing and shoulder peek or whatever. But the fact that's like, you have this Tarkov problem where it's like I can only right side peek, left side's really awkward, but you can shoulder swap, so that feels pretty good. And there's a lot of utility. Like there's just all types of different grenades, like grenades for like disabling people, exploding grenades, like sound grenades, like just all types of stuff.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'm very intrigued, and I really like the AI. The AI is like super cool. Like just all the various. There's like this big giant walker. I think he's been coined Greg or something. I don't know, but and he has like this mini turret, and like I was watching, as I said, Jesse and Bearkey, and they were like sweating, like this thing was like ominous and a threat to them, and they were trying to extract. And I was like, this looks really fun. Like they looked locked in, so I feel like there might be something here, and I think especially for like console players, that would be interesting. And then going back to the solo viability, there is proximity chat, so like there are opportunities. I
Mm.
mean, unfortunately, the person that I killed in the extract, we did not use wipe. So I was basically at the extract. Earlier I had ran to someone and I closed my door. I open the door, and as soon as I open it down the hallway, I see that this person's standing in the doorway. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna close my door now." And then I reopen it. It's like not anymore. So, anyways, so then I start making my way to the extract because I'm like, I can't stay in this for too long. I got to do scav talk. So I'm like sussing it out, and someone calls an extract. I try to throw a grenade in there, but it hit the doors had already closed. Basically, it's like you got to call an elevator. And so then I went and called the elevator for me. Makes a lot of noise. Lady announces stuff, and then the elevator's there. I get in, I start like typing on the computer to like send the elevator down. I hear someone running up, so I pull out my gun, shoot at them. They're not dead. They like run around. I pull out the shotgun, and we like do this merry-go-round. Now they're in the extract. I'm outside. I push in, and I see them typing on the computer. And I kill them, but they got the computer off, and so I went to go finish them, but the raid ended. So I don't know if they made it out or not. But yeah,
Ah.
had I known, I probably would have like been more friendly to them. But I just assumed they were like bum rushing me. They were coming to, kill me, but they were just trying to get in and leave. I think, which was funny. But yeah, I think this is also really cool. Like this person is finding a player. Jack Frags actually, uh, footage from him. He is finding a player, and then this drone is also in the mix, and it shoots like tasers and like zaps them. But you have like shields, energy shield, and then HP. I'm not really certain on the mechanics. It seems that you can take HP damage without taking shield damage in some instances, like
Right.
falling, for example. But I'm not sure what
Mm-hmm.
else. Like here, it looked like he got shot. He took a little bit of both. Um, and yeah, I mean, your healing's really long. But going back to the solo experience, I think because you can full kill people, it's a better experience, like automatically. Because now when you thirst someone, they're donezo, you know,
Right.
and that's like a risk reward thing, right? If you lose the fight, if make the wrong play and try to thirst someone, and that gets you killed, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
it feels better in that way because now it's like I have more of a fighting chance because now I know I can like turn the tide a bit. I just gotta like
Yeah.
chip them down. Like yes, they got the advantage, but yes, they have more loot than I. You know what I mean? That's like the fun part, right? It's like the greed. That's the whole gambling aesthetics with the genre. Even when I was playing with like some other people are like, oh, should we get out? It's like, oh, there's more loot over here. 10 minutes in a raid. We didn't get punished, but there was a lot of like in and on, like, we could just reset. Let's push our luck, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There might be something here. I'm definitely gonna have to like play this a lot more and see. My friends are in, yeah. So that's gonna be great. We're gonna play that. I'm super excited because God, I've been dying to play like an extraction shooter, like something new and fresh. You know, something
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's the thing. I'm sort of like coming at it with strange sort of skepticism and
Hmm.
being pleased, as opposed to the marathon, which was like, a lot of hype and then like being disappointed kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm sort of like
definitely regret
cautiously watching.
being hyped for marathon. That was. I'm generally more of a, on the spectrum, probably more of a pessimistic person, and I regret not sticking to that because I felt like out of it, I was really like displeased. Like
Yeah.
day 2 or 3, it was just like not getting
Yeah.
in, and I'm sitting here watching everyone like, it's okay, it's fun. I'm just like, I want to play. I want to know for myself.
hmm Yeah, I'm intrigued about this one. It does seem it's got a more of a intuitive kind of player leveling screen as well, which looks kind of nice.
Yeah.
Seems like there's the permanent upgrades that you get, but it's just
Hmm.
displayed nicely, right? It just looks quite good. What's interesting to me about this is they seem to have leaned into something that you don't really get that much in this kind of genre.
Hmm.
We've seen it a bit, and there's sort of scales of it now, which is that it reminds me a little bit of Forever Winter,
I was going to say
because
that. Yeah.
Forever Winter, which I still haven't played, by the way, because it's just seems to be very early. Like I've watched those
Yeah.
videos on it
It's
and that
pretty
kind of thing,
early.
which is enough for me for the time being. Because it is like super super early, very buggy, that kind of thing. But I like the concept. But it's
Hmm.
sort of taken a bit of the idea of that and it's sort of a half and half. It's like you can kill some of the enemies, but then some of them are like really big, so
Yeah.
you then just
Yeah.
have to avoid them. I quite like that
I
idea
like
of
that
like
as
there's
well.
there's like dynamic enemies that maybe you will be able to kill them eventually,
Hmm.
or something once you got high enough stuff. But like at least early on, you just have to avoid them. Like they are just an obstacle for you. Like they're not practical to kill, or maybe not
Yeah.
even possible to kill with the stuff you have. Maybe you have to have specialist kit, a bit like the BTR and Tarkov when it was a bit more aggro. And it's like it's an actual obstacle you have to avoid. You can't do anything about it, but it's more dynamic than it's like a world element almost. So there's some things you can kill, some things you can't. You sort of know where you fit in the hierarchy. It kind of leans into what you were saying about being more of a scavenger type game
Yeah.
rather than
I don't.
Tarkov and Marathon, which is like, I mean, they're sort of in the same spectrum in some ways of like you become the ultimate warrior kind of thing. Like in Tarkov,
Exactly.
you become the ultimate warrior.
I don't want to be the main protagonist. I want to feel like the world is against me, so to speak.
Mm, yeah, like you're playing permanent scav in many ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's an interesting way to take it, and I think there's definitely a gap for that, which is maybe why it feels this way. It's more scrappy, more stealthy, more tactical, less all-out action. More interesting universe. Like the enemies are not necessarily like purely just lethal. They don't just have to one-tap you, but they pose an obstacle that you have to think about that you can't just kill. Somebody else said in one of the videos I watched that it reminded them a bit of like Last of Us. I think was it this game? I think so.
I
Just in the
mean,
just in
I
the
could see
general like
that.
vibe of the
Yeah.
way that it plays out in some ways. I think because it's third person as well, that sort of helps you think of that game a bit. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Like I'm intrigued. We'll see. We'll see. I haven't played it yet, as I said. So we're just watching someone personally getting flamethrowed.
Yeah, he's getting cooked by some little bot that rolls at you and fires flamethrowers.
But I quite like the enemy design being like that too. It's like something a bit different.
Yeah, it's
You're playing
different.
against
Yeah.
robots and
Yep.
whatever. Again, that's quite Forever Winter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A little bit Helldivers-y maybe as well, thrown in the
Sure.
mix. It's like
Sure.
the PvE elements are not just like, oh, it's other people, but it's played by the AI. I guess Marathon's a bit like that too, because it's like AI, just like robot soldiers and stuff.
Yeah, but
But
they're more humanoid,
they are human, yeah.
and I
They are
think
human.
for
I mean,
me,
I like the way they're done, but
I mean, from what I've seen, again, I haven't played, but it looks more like they're very tanky cannon fodder. Like that's not even the right word, but it's like it's just like they're a resource dump. You know what I mean? It's like
kind of, yeah.
it doesn't really feel or look that great. Whereas
Mm.
I like how this is like, oh, there's a little bot. It's a threat. I gotta take it out. And then there's a giant bot, like this like giant spider-esque walking thing with Gatling guns on it. It's like, I really gotta be, it's like, don't want to piss that thing off. I like that feeling a lot.
It's so interesting seeing this game come out now after we've talked so much about Tarkov, so much about the cycle, so much about Marathon, so much about Grey Zone Warfare, all these other games. And it's like the things we were talking about previously, you can see. And a lot of this stuff, half the time, it's not even, there's nothing that you can really pinpoint to in particular. Like, yeah, you can get to an explanation for it. But a lot of these games, the reason why they feel good or are good, and the Helldivers is a great example of this, it's just like the vibe of the game is just great, right? You just it feels cool to play. And that's like a mixture of all the elements, the UI, the world, the scene they set, how immersed you are. And this game treads this like fine line between like, it's a sci-fi game, but it's in a realistic setting, so you already understand. But they've got the creative license for the enemies to be interesting, because the enemies are non-humanoid, but you've got like guns that you would understand as a person. You've got a shotgun or an SMG or a sniper rifle or whatever. Like those things are understandable. Yet you're a person surviving in this world that looks like the human world. It's like it's kind of riding that line between understandable, intuitive elements, but then there's a twist that makes it interesting. Reminds me a lot about like people in general. People like things that are familiar, but with a twist. People don't like things that are completely new, actually.
Yeah.
There's a story about the old Spotify, for you, new to you playlist, whatever it's called. I don't have Spotify, but there's an old story about that, which is, they tried this algorithm many times, new music that's like the things you've heard, but not, that's you haven't heard before. It's like things that you like, but not that you've heard. And they tried it so many different ways, and people just hated it and just carried on listening to the stuff that they actually liked. And then one engineer accidentally mixed together two of the playlists, which was like all the stuff that you do like and a smattering of new stuff. And they went into production by accident, and people really, really liked it. And it's
That's
like
funny.
People don't want to see just all new stuff. It's too overwhelming.
Yeah.
People like, to do stuff or understand things, and you have some stuff intuitive, and then there be a twist and like, oh, here's a new cool thing in amongst the things that are familiar, right? Can't shock people too much. And it's like, that's the same argument here. It's like familiar elements, and then but these things are different. It's like, oh, that's intriguing. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like subverting your expectations as well in some ways. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't played it yet, so I'm excited. I don't know when I'm going to have time. Life is complicated right now because my PC is in a different house to where I'm living, and we're moving it around, and there's loads of stuff going on. So hopefully I'll get some time to play. But I'm looking forward to it. Looks interesting.
Yeah, I think you have till the 4th, if I recall correctly. Is that Sunday?
I'll try to get some time in.
Yeah, get special permission.
Yeah,
it's for work.
Exactly. I'm working hard.
So I played Magic the Gathering for the first time, specifically Magic the Gathering Commander variants, which you have like a singular card that's your commander that you build your deck around.
Is this like a PC version, or is this like a IRL
so
version?
I went to a game lounge and bar place and met up with some strangers and played some games. And we played some board games, but at the end they were like, "You ever play Magic?" I was like, "No." And I was a little worried because I've heard so much about Magic. And they were like, "We should play Magic, just see how far we could get." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And so they were like, they brought out their like bags of decks. I'm just like, "Oh my god!" And they're all like got like foils on and like sleeves and protectors. I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is serious." Like, have you played any like battle card game like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon? I was like, "Oh, not really."
Got like Pokemon when I was like 12.
Yeah, where we made up the rules and like had no idea what we were doing. I was like, no. But I played it. I chose a vampire deck. I don't remember what it was, but I was like not. It was a bit intimidating, but I felt like I picked up pretty fast. And I gotta say, I can see the appeal. There's a lot of mechanics and like the swing and power. Like, I played a card not really understanding what it did, and everyone was like, "Oh crap!" It was like this flying sorceress, and so because she's flying, she can attack ground units and not have them defend because they aren't flying. So you can just like, either they tank the damage by not sacrificing their unit and just lose life points directly, or you killed her unit. assuming you have enough damage to do so. And it's just like she just had this other passive abilities, and basically because of this one, character that was out on the board, I was like completely countering another person's deck. Like basically anytime a unit would die or get discarded, I would gain 3 life, and this person had like a zombie deck where it was like all about, you know,
Ah,
minions and like sacrificing them and stuff. And yeah, I ended up losing, which is fine, but it was a fun experience. And I was like, okay, I kind of like based off that one game, I get why people are into this, and also, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like they kind of like created the most genius card game. It's like just make a bunch of OP cards, and then like just make a ton of them, and because like apparently, so the my commander was like a blank card of text written on it because they were like, yeah, we sold this card
ah,
because the market it spiked recently. It was like, and then they tell me later, they're like, yeah, we bought our house by selling his collection.
that's
Pointing to her
crazy.
husband. Yeah, it was like I think they said like 12K, like what they sold
Wow.
everything, which is just like crazy that these cards, and like imagine how much he said, yeah, imagine how much I've spent in my lifetime collecting these. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. I might play some Magic the Gathering Arena on the computer, and like if I like it more, I might have to like go and I don't think I'll buy a deck, but maybe I'll like print out a deck or do something really cheesy
Hmm.
like that. But it sounds I might be a Magic player now, Giga. So pray for me. Pray for me.
Yeah, I got to pray for you. I think how much do I? Because I played Magic the Gathering, Jewel of the Planeswalker
Hmm.
quite a bit with a friend a while ago. So last played 2013. So this is like 12 years ago when I played that. But I had 62 hours in that. So I've like played some some Magic the Gathering on the PC with a friend, and that was good. He got really into it actually. Um, Interestingly, the same guy who ended up playing Tarkov with me and getting Kappa, but we're quite like minded in many ways on many games. But he got really into it, and like I played a bit with him. But it's certainly an interesting game. I mean, like when you get to a certain point, I mean, on the PC, it's quite a bit more limited, right? Because you've only got certain decks and blah blah. I don't know
Sure,
what
sure.
Arena's like because again, this was 12 years ago, but it's quite cool once you get to that level where you're like, oh, I can't understand how this is all working now. I know what's in my deck. I know how to counter versus
Yeah.
certain things, and you're playing like certain ones which have got like counter spells in them as like part of the thing. So, and someone else is like, you play something, and then they counter spell you. You counter spell the counter spell, and it's just like all the layers. It goes
You've
crazy.
activated my
It's like
trap
it's
card.
fun. Yeah, exactly. It's cool. It's just like okay, I can see the appeal here because
Mm-hmm.
it's all the layers of depth and like trying to figure out like
Yeah.
what have they got and should I save this or not, and like there's so much of it's all of the interesting things that I like about a lot of games I've played in the past about there's information that there's the information that you don't know. They've got a hand but you can't see it, the deck you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what's in their deck but you don't know what order it's going to come out in, or you don't know exactly what their plan is. Like there's lots of things. There's sort of a fog of war element to it, which is certainly interesting. So yes, it's a cool game. It's certainly a cool game. Well, I have to see how you get on with it because it is. Yeah, I mean, I kind of stopped. I think I don't know why exactly. I think I just kind of got bored for the time being. I played like enough, and I was like moving on to something else.
Yeah.
But it's certainly cool. I've never played with the actual cards like in real life, but played on the PC. I'm a big of all my friends. I'm very much just like if it runs on the PC, I'm playing on the PC. I don't want to
Yeah.
be fucking
Yeah.
about tapping cards manually and rolling dice and all this crap. Like I can't be
I mean,
bothered.
even just
Life's
like
too short. I want the.
acquiring the cards, I'm just like, I don't want to spend for, buy booster
That's
packs and
true.
stuff. I mean, some people really like
Yeah.
that, of course, but, I just like,
Mm.
yeah, just give me I could just play a digital version and just have like everything.
Yeah, yeah. And I just wanted to do the rules for me. I don't want to have to faff with the rules. It
That's
just
true
means
too.
everything takes
Yeah.
ages. So yeah. Well, good, good. Hope you get the chance to get back and explore it some more.
Yeah, I'm gonna try next week. See if I go on
Good.
again. Owning
Nice.
some noobs this time. After my training in the Magic the Gathering. Otherwise, until then, I think we'll wrap it up. Thanks everyone for tuning in. As
Mhm.
always, shout out to our sponsor, Lethal Gaming Gear. Promo code ScavTalk. Check them out if you're in the market for a mouse or mouse pad or various accessories. And we will see you all next week.
Bye bye for now.